Thank you guys so much for that. Was a really loud clap. It's making the experience of reading this like 10 times better. So just gonna drop that. It's taking up so much memory on my, what happened? Hello. Thank you.
This has been such an exciting vlog so far. I've been editing 90% of the time.
Hello everybody, my name is Kelsey and we're about to get very, very nerdy with the Magical Readathon. Today is April 1st, which means it is the start of another readathon, specifically the Owls portion of the Magical Readathon. So I am very, very excited. I have never vlogged the Owls portion before, and I just like vlogging my experience. I think it's fun. So if you guys don't know what the Magical Readathon is, thanks for clicking on the video anyway, but I will leave a link down below. But basically it's a readathon based on the tests that you would take if you were a Hogwarts student in the Wizarding World of Harry Potter, and the first part is the Owls, which is in April. But today is a day. I have many plans today, so I need to first off collect all my books, because if you guys see this shelf right here usually holds all of the books that are on my TBR, and there are currently no books on it, so I need to actually collect all of my books in one place. And then I also have fun bookmarks for them that G from Book Roast made, but they are all like classes, and so I'd love to, well, mine is that one, but they're all classes, so I want to match up all of the books with the bookmark that it's the class that I'm reading it for. I mean, look at this artwork. I don't know about y'all, but this woman is amazing. And then I also need to kind of update my bullet journal a little bit, but I need to do all of that and get a coffee and eat and just like start the awesomeness that is this readathon. I'm very excited. But before all of that, I need to work out. I've actually been working out. It's just been like a couple days now, so I'm not too far, but I have been trying to do like some at-home stuff, and I have this app that's dedicated. It's called like Workouts for Women or something, and I have been actually like taking one of their programs, which is like for beginners, but I will be listening to an audiobook through all of that. Actually, let me grab that one real quick. It was more fun than I care to admit. So the first book that I will actually be starting is the audiobook of it, because the audiobook came through from my library. I had it on hold and I wasn't sure I was going to get it, but it came in a couple days ago, so perfect timing. And that is Murder on the Orient Express by Agatha Christie. So I will be listening to this audiobook while I'm doing all of the stuff I just mentioned, and then once I get all my books in one place, I can kind of determine what the physical book is that I want to read, because y'all know I like having two books going at once, an audiobook and a physical book. I have nothing in my currently reading on Goodreads right now, and it's really bothering me. It's been that way for like 2 days. So this will definitely be the first book that I pick up, and I believe this is for my arithmancy. It was correct. And this is definitely one of the books, or at least one of the prompts that is required for the career that I'm going for, which is Transfiguration Professor. And then I'm also going to be going for the like Animagus training on top of that. That is the update / beginning of this week. Let's see what happens.
all nice and put together. These are the books that I required for my career, and then these four and the Children of Virtue and Vengeance are not required, but I would like to read. So I'm listening to the audiobook of Agatha Christie now, but I'm trying to figure out what to physically read. So I'll pull this one out because this is for the prompt of astronomy, which is to read a book at night. So I will start this one tonight when it is dark outside. But I need another one that's not just for night, but that I can read whenever. I think I'll go with How to Get Shit Done by Erin Falconer. It is my non-fiction book from the TBR jar, and it's also for the Charms class, which is to read a book with a white cover. So now I just need to get started on my mapping out. So I did want to show you this because I was very proud of it. So I have these two right here. So we'll start with this one. This is the kind of the prompts and the books that I want to read for it. So this is my TBR, and it lets me know what the class is for and the prompt for it. So I keep that all in one place, and I kind of made it look like a little bit of a letter, so I'm really proud of that. And then the readathon, I tried to make it all of the Hogwarts houses scarves. And then this page is one that I honestly got the idea from Zoe with Read by Zoe. She did this a couple years ago with all of her classes, but she did them with potion bottles, and then she filled them in when she had completed the challenge. I wanted to do something similar to that, so I went for snitches, and I think I'm going to color in the snitch in a design or in maybe just a color based on the book cover of whatever that prompt is. I wanted to show you that I was really proud of it. I am so far somewhere in chapter 4 of Murder on the Orient Express. I'm liking it. I'm not really like into the story enough, like the actual murder hasn't happened yet, so like I don't really have any opinions yet. But the guy who's doing the audiobook of this is Dan Stevens, who was he played Matthew Crawley in the Downton Abbey series for a while, and then he was also the prince from Beauty and the Beast. Well, he's also the Beast from the live action Beauty and the Beast that just came out a few years ago with Emma Watson in it, so it's so cool. The minute they told me it was him, I was like so excited. It was just this extra level of, oh my gosh, I can't believe it. It is much later, and I just wanted to update you on my reading so far. I have read quite a good, or listened to quite a good amount of Murder on the Orient Express. I am somewhere in, chapters are weird because they're in parts, and each part they like restart on the chapter, so I'm in the 13th chapter in part 2, which is about 190 pages into the book. So I am well over halfway, and I am enjoying it. We have done all of the interviews with everybody on the Express, and I am just as confused as the
inspector and his friend who hired him, who's in charge of the train line, I think. As of right now, I'm predicting a 3.5 star, maybe a very low 4-star, but I am enjoying this one. I'm glad I decided to pick up an Agatha Christie book. Like I said, I'm over half, so this one I'm sure I can finish. I'll probably finish this one sometime tomorrow, so that will be exciting. And it's not like a super big book, but the audiobook is really, really good. I'm usually not very picky when it comes to my audiobooks. I'll listen to anything if they're telling me a story, but the inflection is just fantastic. I feel like he's literally sitting with me telling me the story, and he does the most amazing accents because Jan Stevens is an English actor, and so he's got an English accent. Like, that's just who he is. But our main character, the inspector detective person, is actually French. So he's got a French accent there. You've also got people on the train who are from America. So you've got a few American accents. Then we have an Italian, and he does an Italian accent. There's a Swedish maid on this one as well. So, like, he has to do all of these different accents. And it's amazing. I loved this audiobook. It's fantastic. I would highly recommend. And it's making the experience of reading this like 10 times better. So, just gonna drop that. So, we'll see what the rest of it has in store for me to really see what I think about this one. And that's actually the only one that I've really started. I mentioned these two before. I haven't started either of those, but it is dark outside, and this is my dark outside book. So I think what I'm going to do is, this book has an introduction, and it's not super long. So I'll say this, and now I can even find the end of it. I might read the introduction of this one just to get this one started. I don't know how I'm going to feel about this because it's a self-help book, which I usually don't read a lot of self-help books, but this one specifically is for women who are like super, super busy and want to be involved in everything, but like their to-do lists are out the window. So I'm worried because I'm not super busy right now, and that's not because of like the quarantine, self-isolation situation that the world is having right now. I mean, it is, but I have been unemployed since the end of last year, like before then, sometime in the fall, and so I've just been like at home, basically self-isolating for like 5 months now, so like I don't feel super busy. I'm still really intrigued by this story. I'm just a little wary because I'm afraid that it's coming at like the wrong time for me. We'll see. So I'm hoping to get to the introduction of this read tonight and then start in on this one because this is my read in the dark, or read when it's dark outside. And I enjoyed the last one so much that like I'm really in the world now, so this one's probably going to be really good. So, hoping to get started on these two tonight. First day has been pretty much a success. I've listened to quite a lot of one audiobook, so I'll take it. So I thought that I would update you on my reading progress so far. I didn't get as much reading done last night as I wanted to, but I did finish the chapter I was in Murder on the Orient Express, and I've listened to a couple more, so I am somewhere in chapter 2 of the 3rd part, so I'm probably about there. So
not too far from the end, so I'm sure I'm going to finish this one today. I think that this is great. It's definitely gone uphill. This is now, I believe, going to end up being a 4-star, but we shall see. So I am very excited about this one. Like, all I want to do is read this one or listen to this one. And then as far as my Series of Fortune Events book, this is the one that I can only read in the dark, and I'm a little bitter about that because, like, I really want to read it right now and I can't. But I made it to chapter 3, so page 30, so not really too far. And then I did start How to Get Shit Done, but like I said, I only read the introduction. So I'm on page 10, so the actual book part hasn't started yet. So we'll see what I think when that happens, but I think I'm liking it so far. I like the way that she writes. She writes like I assume she would talk, like it feels very personable, but I'm going to finish this one first before I do anything, because I am very excited. So I have my mug of coffee for today. Today I am my Hufflepuff Target mug. I've discovered that I have a lot of Harry Potter mugs, which I'm okay with. So I have coffee, I have something to eat. I'm going to hopefully try to get this one done and then see what happens. I finished it. It was very, very good. I understand the hype. I ended up giving this one 4 stars. I noticed that, at least with this book, now this is the first Agatha Christie book I've ever read, so I don't actually know if this is her style or this book specifically, but with this book, it felt like it built up for like 75% of the book, and then the last little bit like was really, really quick, and then like everything you thought you knew got switched, and then once you thought you kind of were like, oh, okay, it got switched again. So like, holy crap, the ending was so good. It ended really abruptly though, I will say that, but I understand and I actually appreciate the end, and I really like it. I don't think there's much to talk about as far as her writing style. I don't think anything stood out specifically with this, but the way that she crafted the story and the like whodunit and just figuring it out and having what you thought you knew be switched like 10 different times, I really appreciated it. I think this was a well-crafted story and plot line. Oh, it was good. I'm so glad that I read this. And this one was for astrology, arithmancy. This was for arithmancy, which was the power of 2, which was to read a book that was outside of your comfort zone, and it was fantastic. 1 book done, and it's a 4 star, so that's great. But because that was an audiobook, I need to pick up another audiobook, and for me, that one I'm going to end up picking up is Everlasting Rose, which is the second in the Bells series by Danielle Clayton. This is an art copy that I got at YALLFest.
like 2 years ago, but this is for my Transfiguration class, which is to read a book including shapeshifting, or a series including shapeshifting, and because of the magic system with the bells, I think that works really well. So I am excited. So this is going to be my next audiobook read. So I do need to get more of How to Get Shit Done read, because like I haven't read any of that today, but I really, excuse me, I'm talking, but I really need to start editing my March wrap-up. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to edit, and then I'm going to read this. So that is my plan. But I've got one book done, so that's exciting. And it was like a really good one. Like, I want to read more Agatha Christie now. Like, I really do. So, have I just discovered that I like mysteries? I think I did. G has announced that there's a reading sprint at 8 her time, which is about 3 o'clock my time. And it's for about an hour. So I'm going to work on this video for a little bit, and then I'm going to join in that reading sprint and read How to Get Shit Done, because like I said, I really do need to get started on that book. Update you on my reading from the hour-long reading sprint. So I started off reading How to Get Shit Done, which was 4 charms. It's for like to read something with a white cover. And I read a chapter in this, and I don't think it's the right time for me to read this because it put me in this really weird funk. And like, I don't know, like she asks you a lot of deep questions, which is totally fine, and I think that that is warranted, and I do like her writing style, and I like what she's getting at. The problem is, I don't think where I am, like, in my life right now, this is a good idea, so I need to find something else that is a white cover. I haven't decided what that is yet, but I did, after reading that first chapter, I stopped, and I picked up I Love You by Erin Lyon, which I pulled from my my fiction TBR jar, and it's for the prompt of reading a contemporary. It's for Muggle Studies, I believe. Yeah, I read a chapter in this one, and I'm liking it. It's a fun world. It's really interesting because this feels like our world, but without marriages, and so it's just interesting. I'm 26 pages into this book, so like barely even made a dent. But I'm liking it so far. So the whole point of this book is that our main character is in her 30s and she decides to go to law school. For the 6 months before this book starts, she was interning for free at a law firm, and she thought that they would pick her, and then they decide to go with a different direction, so she's currently unemployed and kind of like having a crisis. She is in a contract with a guy, and the contracts last 7 years. So some people can end it, some people renew the contracts, and basically the way that I think it works is if you breach your contract or end it or break it in some way, before the 7 years, then you have to pay something because her best friend has breached like 5 different contracts and she's still paying off 2. If she or her non-husband partner, I guess is the best way to say it, she and her partner Jonathan, if neither of them contact their lawyers, then the contract renews for another 7 years. So the contract's going to renew in a couple of weeks, and so the first chapter takes place at a bar when she's basically been told that she's not going to get hired by this firm, and she and her best friend are at a bar, and she gets hit on by this guy named Adam, who is known as a contract killer, which are these guys who hit on and go after women who are in contracts. And the way to tell that you are in a contract is not from like a wedding ring or anything, it's a necklace that has a feather on it. It's interesting, and I am enjoying this book a lot. So I think stopping this book and picking up something else was great. I think I figured out finally what I am going to pick up for my white cover, and I think I'm going to be choosing A Darker Shade of Magic by V.E. Schwab, the first in this series. This is like a highly loved series on, well, in general, but definitely on BookTube, and I've never actually read anything by V.E. Schwab before. This is gonna be fun. I'm excited. You guys should see my face at some point today. So it is very late in the day. I have not been doing much. I worked out this morning like I usually do, and I have been editing. So that's been my day. But she is doing a sprint at 8 o'clock her time, which is 3 o'clock here. So that's in just under an hour. So I've decided to participate in another one. But I did want to give you an update. I haven't really been reading a whole lot. I read a chapter in the series Unfortunate Events last night, so I'm now like 50 pages in, so it's good. There is this other thing, like this, okay, so I watched the series on Netflix a long time ago, like when it first came out. I watched the first season, and then I believe I watched part of the second season, because there are these twins that are part of a triplet, but their brother and parents died in a fire, and they're at the school with the Baudelaire orphans, and like I totally forgot that was actually in the book. I thought that was just something they put in the TV show, because the TV show is pretty close to the actual books. There's like a couple underarching like plot lines that I'm still really confused about, but I think it's to help tie up some of the stuff that happens at the end of the series. But I didn't remember these siblings being in the book, but they actually are. So like that makes me really happy. So we met them, and that's awesome. And that's really about it. I'm only like 3 chapters into that book. So hopefully I can continue to get more done. Only being able to read it at night is a little bit of a struggle, but it's a really short book. So that's been fun. I did start The Bells yesterday. I'm only 2 chapters in, I want to say. Yeah, I'm only on page 24, so barely anything. I listened to the audiobook. So I did want to mention that I had started that, and I'm only 1 chapter in this one. I haven't gotten any farther. But I want to read this one during the sprint, because I haven't been able to just like sit down and read. Like I realize it's only the 3rd day, so like there's many, many more days. But I just wanted to mention that I was going to try to participate in that, because those are very helpful, I think. I also wanted to mention, which I totally forgot, is that this book, its title is totally different. According to Goodreads, the title is I Love You, subject to the following terms and conditions, not I love you and then like this is the subject head. Like that's the entire title. That's a long title. Also, there's a sequel to this book, so we'll see. We'll see how I feel about this. But I just needed to share with you the ridiculous length that is this title. reset up. So I thought I would update you on my reading that I did during the sprint. I read 70 more pages in. I'm just gonna keep calling this I Love You. I'm not gonna use the super long name. I am almost 100 pages in. I'm on 96, so like almost 30% of the way through the book, and I am really liking it. I love her writing style. I didn't really capture it much in the first chapter, but the banter between our main character and her best friend, and our main character and I guess we could say like her love interest, is amazing. She writes really good banter. She's like super sassy, and like I appreciate that. It's amazing. I didn't think I would love it as much as I do, like only 100 pages in, but I do. The relationship between the girl, our main character Katie, and her partner, I guess we can call him Jonathan, reminds me a lot of the relationship that like my husband and I have together, and like the fact that they're breaking up like destroys me. Like I cried at one point. I'm not even 100 pages into the book, and I cried at one point because they were breaking up, and it gave me too many real feels. Because it sounds like our main character and this other person, this male who's known as the contract killer, and he only goes after women who are under contract, and once our main character Kate is no longer under contract, like he doesn't want to sleep with her anymore, he just wants to like be friends with her, and she's like confused. But it sounds like they're going to end up together, and like I don't really ship that yet. I'm having some complicated feelings about this book, but I'm loving it so far. I don't know why I'm so surprised that I would love this, but like I didn't know what to expect going into this, and I'm usually a fan of just like romance novels. I am glad that I decided to read this month, because it's like a good book. It's a very good book. So I got an hour and a half of reading in, so like that's awesome. I'm very excited about this one. And yeah, I think I'm going to continue to edit this video that's going to take forever to edit. I made myself a very large cup of tea. It's like my favorite. It's like this berry thing. I don't know. It's got like berries in it, and it's delicious. I'm done. I finished it. 39 minutes long, but I finished it. There's a Chris.
It's Toasty in here. I thought I would update you on my reading. So I've read quite a lot. I am now at the start of chapter 10, which is on page 175. So I haven't put it in Goodreads yet, but I'd say that that's probably about half. It's a very, very quick book. It is very much your typical romance book. If you want something original, the only thing that's original about this story is the whole signing law instead of marriage part of it. The actual plot itself is very normal romance plot. So this is one that you can get through really quickly. Writing is very simplistic. There's a lot of dialogue in this, and there's also a lot of texting in here, but I'm liking it more than I thought I would. But it is dark outside, so I might put this aside for the day and pick up Series of Unfortunate Events.
update you guys on my reading. I haven't really talked to you guys in a few days. It's Wednesday, and I haven't really been doing much the past couple days, editing here and there, watching YouTube. I have been reading on and off because I do have some updates to talk to you guys about. So as you guys would have seen Sunday night, I finished The Austere Academy, which is the 5th for the series Unfortunate Events. It was for astronomy, which was to read a book at night, and I really enjoyed this one. I ended up giving this one 4 stars. It was great. I have a lot of the same feelings that I did about the 4th one. I think I'm really getting into the series now because the first 3 I know so well because they were turned into a movie with Jim Carrey, and I watched that like all of the time when I was little. And then everything beyond that, it like the farther we get in the series, the less I remember. So like I remember bits and pieces about these, but not super well. And then like the last 4 in the series, I remember like nothing. So this one was good. We are starting to get some of the overarching plot in the entire series because it's a lot of formulaic stuff so far, where the kids go to a new guardian or place. Count Olaf finds them, and then things happen, and they end up going to another one. And so like that continues for I think at least the next like 3 books beyond this one. But we're starting to see bits and pieces of like the overarching plot of things that will happen in the later books. It was great. This was funnier. Like I had some like legit laugh out loud moments during this one, which I appreciated. I have also been listening to The Everlasting Rose by Danielle Clayton. I am 142 pages in, so not quite halfway, but like close to halfway. And this one was for my Transfiguration read. I like it. I don't really have any strong feelings about this one yet, even though I am like almost halfway through. When I am reading it, I am really enjoying it. I'm really like invested in the series, but when I put it down, I like have other things that I want to read and I never like think about picking this one up. So I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to feel about this book. It has been such a long time removed since I read the first one, so there are definitely things in this book that I don't remember. I think waiting so long between the first one and this one was not the best idea because there's not as much urgency with this world as it is with the first one, because this takes place literally like right after the other one. I'm hoping to get really into this one more. Every time I want to read, I actually want to read I Love You instead, so like I have any trouble wanting to read anything else. I don't have much to say on this one yet, but I Love You is fantastic. It is really, I don't know, like there's so many tropes with this book that, like I said before, it's just a romance book. If you don't like romance books, you're not gonna like this one. This is very stereotypical. Nothing about this book is believable, but I really like this. I just like the world. However, I'm stressing because I'm about 260 pages in, so I really only have that much left. And like, there's no way that this world and everything that's going to happen is going to be solved in these pages unless it's like wrapped up perfectly with a little bow. Which if it does, I'm going to be really bitter about it. There is a sequel to this one, which, if this is going the way that I think it's going to go, is different because most sequels when it comes to romances are different stories or have different characters as the leads. Usually what happens is the first book, the couple gets together, everything is nice and dandy and perfect, and then the sequel is like someone throws a wrench in the system, but they are actually together. I don't see that happening with this one. I don't know, like I just don't see this ending in this book, which is different for romance books. So like if it ends the way I think it's going to, which is not really an ending at all, I'm gonna need the second one. Like I don't know. Like I really don't know. This is not following a normal romance plot line, but it also has a lot of the same elements of like a normal romance. It's interesting. Also, this is a debut novel, which I didn't think I realized when I went into this one, but it feels like a debut novel. Like the writing style, I like the snarkiness. The snarkiness is like on point, but as far as like writing when it comes to bigger paragraphs and not dialogue is something that like I could do. I'm conflicted because there are some things about the writing style that I really enjoy and some things that I'm like, this feels like a debut novel. I'm gonna probably sit down and read that one because I need to. I just need to know what happens at the end of this one because it's like stressing me out so much. So we're gonna go do that. you. I think I'm going to give this a 4-star. It was very good. I very much enjoyed a lot about this book. I would say that this is definitely more of a chick lit book than a romance book. The one thing that I have a problem with this book is the world is very creative, and I think that that is genius, except for it just ends. Most books and series that I have read have at least some form of wrap up in the end so that you feel like, yes, the story's not over, but like this chapter of it is over. You don't get that in this book. It just ends. I want to continue with this world, but I am a little bitter about how this ended because, like I said, it was very abrupt. But I think, like I said, I am going to give it 4 stars because I did really love a lot about this book, and I was really enjoying my reading of this. I think it just wasn't like amazing, like a 5-star. So I'm gonna give it a 4-star and stick with that. But that means I now have 3 books done, and that is very exciting. So I need to pick up another book to physically read. I'm going to pick up The Missing Manuscript by Cherie James. I believe this is for herbology, just to read a book that starts with M. Stand here so that you can't see Chris. Hello! So I thought that I would wrap up this vlog here because I haven't really been doing much today, and I probably won't do much reading the rest of the day, like maybe a little bit tonight. Plus I've already finished 3 books this week, so like I count that as a win. If I can finish 3 books every single week, then I will finish all 12 by the end of the month. So, and also Chris is on 4 books done, so like we need to pick up the pace because he's winning, and that is not okay. But I thought I'd like wrap up kind of where I was. I have finished 3 books so far, which you guys know, which is these 3. So we have Agatha Christie's Murder on the Orient Express. We have The Austere Academy by Lemony Snicket, the 5th in the series Unfortunate Events. And I Love You, Subject to the Following Terms and Conditions by Erin Lyon. And I realized that I actually gave all of these 4 stars. So I had a good week. And then I'm also in the middle of 2 books, so I am currently listening to the audiobook of The Everlasting Rose by Danielle Clayton. I am currently on chapter 25, which is on page 223. So I think I'm like 65% of the way through this book. I love that you can see Chris eating in the background. This is so great. Like, there's this little space between the book and my head, and I just saw you shove a cracker in your face in that little space. It's great. And then I'm also physically reading this one, which is The Missing Manuscript of Jane Austen by Cherie James, and like I'm on page 4. So maybe 1% of the way through. So these are the 2 that I will be starting next week reading. That's kind of where I'm at. I don't really have any strong opinions, even though I'm pretty far through this one. I don't have any strong opinions. So like I'm predicting a 3 or a 3.5 for this one. And I'm not even like anywhere in that one. But I finished 3, so we've got arithmancy, astronomy, and Muggle studies done. So I'd call that a really great first week. That's basically all I've got for you guys. Thank you guys so much for sitting through this very long first week and a half vlog. I hope you enjoyed. Let me know if you guys are participating in the Owls or whatever you're currently reading right now. Let me know. I'd love to chat with you guys about what you're reading. If you like this video, make sure to give it a big thumbs up and subscribe down below if you'd like to be part of this awesome growing family. I have all my social media down there as well, so if you'd like to follow along on any of those, feel free to do that, and I will see you guys next week.